Have you ever caught yourself hopping over cracks on the sidewalk? Or knocking on wood after saying something big? Or maybe feeling a weird chill when a black cat crosses your path? Well, you're definitely not alone. Even in our modern science-loving world, superstitions still sneak into our lives in the funniest little ways. We usually laugh them off and call them silly, but honestly, there's some fascinating psychology behind why these beliefs stick around, and believe it or not, sometimes they can even work in our favor. Let's dive into the science, or lack of it, behind some of our most common superstitions and see how human psychology, culture, and science all mix together in the weirdest ways. Why do we even get superstitious? Before we get into specific superstitions, it's worth asking, why do people even think this way? Back in 1948, the psychologist B.F. Skinner did a classic experiment that showed how superstitious behavior can pop up just from random rewards. He put hungry pigeons in a cage and gave them food at regular intervals, no matter what they were doing. Guess what? The pigeons started inventing all sorts of crazy rituals, like spinning around or bobbing their heads, thinking those moves were what made the food appear. And humans? We're not that different. If something good happens after we do a certain thing, like wearing your lucky shirt on exam day and then acing the test, our brains make a connection, even if it's totally random. That connection can stick around way longer than it should, even when there's absolutely no logical link. Psychologists call this the dual process model. Basically, we've got one part of our brain that's fast, emotional, and a little magical, and another part that's logical but kind of slow and lazy. Sometimes, even when we know a superstition isn't real, we still go along with it, just in case. This is called superstitious compliance. We're funny creatures, aren't we? Plus, studies show that superstitions can actually help us out mentally. They can calm our nerves when we don't know what's going to happen, make us feel like we have some control, even in totally uncertain situations, boost our confidence and self-belief, give us a little comfort during stressful times. No wonder superstitions pop up around high-stress stuff like exams, sports finals, gambling, or big life moments. We're just trying to keep our cool. 1. The black cat crossing your path. Superstition. If a black cat crosses your path, it's bad luck. This one goes all the way back to the Middle Ages, when people linked black cats to witches and the Black Plague. Folks actually believed witches could turn into black cats, so seeing one was basically a bad omen. Here's the fun part. Not every culture thinks black cats are unlucky. In Japan and Scotland, black cats are actually seen as symbols of good luck and protection. And in ancient Egypt, cats of any color were totally revered. No bad vibes there. There's zero evidence that a cat's color can change your future. This superstition sticks around because of something called confirmation bias. We remember the times something bad happened after seeing a black cat, and totally forget all the times nothing happened at all. From an evolutionary point of view, humans are just wired to make these false positive connections, because back in the day, it was safer to be a little too cautious. Breaking a mirror. Ever heard that breaking a mirror brings 7 years of bad luck? Ugh, talk about a nightmare. This superstition actually goes way back to ancient Greece, where people believed mirrors could trap your soul, and if you broke one, it meant your soul was damaged. Hello, bad luck. The whole 7 years part? That's probably from the Romans, who thought life sort of reset every 7 years. Wild, right? Honestly, this is just another classic example of us connecting dots that don't really go together. What psychologists call correlation versus causation. Breaking a mirror usually happens by accident, and accidents tend to cluster with other bad moments, but there's no real link. And 7 years is such a long time. You're bound to have some ups and downs, which makes it feel like the curse is real. Tricky. Knocking on wood. Ever bragged about your good luck, then instantly knocked on wood just in case? We all do it. There are a bunch of theories about where this habit came from. Some say it started with ancient pagans who thought spirits lived in trees, so knocking would keep you safe. Others say it scared away evil spirits. There's even a 19th century British kids' game called Tiggy Touch Wood, where touching wood made you safe. Who knew? In Italy, people touch steel instead of wood. In Poland and Russia, it has to be unpainted wood. And in Turkey, you knock twice. So many ways to keep the bad vibes away. No, knocking on wood doesn't actually change your luck. But it does make you feel like you're doing something to control your fate, which calms your nerves. Studies even show that little rituals like this can boost your confidence and help you perform better under pressure. So hey, knock away. Throwing salt over your shoulder. Ever spilled salt and then tossed a pinch over your left shoulder? Yep, that's a classic. This one comes from Christian traditions. People used to believe the devil sat on your left shoulder, and throwing salt would blind him so he couldn't bring you bad luck. Salt was super valuable and seen as pure, so spilling it was a big deal. There's no evidence salt does anything to evil spirits or your luck, but the act of tossing it is like hitting a mental reset button. It helps you move on from a little accident instead of obsessing over it. Not a bad trick. Walking under a ladder. Walking under a ladder. Bad luck? That's what they say. There's actually a practical side to this one. Walking under a ladder is just plain risky. Something could fall, or you could knock the ladder over. Symbolically, a ladder against a wall forms a triangle, which represented the Holy Trinity in Christian tradition. Walking through it was seen as breaking the Trinity, a big no-no. This superstition actually makes some sense. Stats show there's a real risk of accidents around ladders, so this belief is at least partly based on real-world danger, not just spooky stories. Still, no supernatural consequences here. Finding a four-leaf clover. Finding a four-leaf clover is supposed to bring you good luck. And honestly, who doesn't get excited when they spot one? They're super rare, about 1 in 10,000, which makes them feel extra special. There are all sorts of stories. Some say Eve brought one out of Eden. Others say ancient Celts thought they warded off evil spirits. In Christian tradition, the 4 leaves stand for hope, faith, love, and luck. Cute, right? 4-leaf clovers are just a genetic fluke. There's no proof they actually bring good luck, but finding something rare can definitely boost your mood and confidence. Sometimes, just believing you're lucky makes you more likely to succeed. Fake it till you make it. Opening an umbrella indoors. Ever opened an umbrella inside and had someone gasp, "Don't do that, it's bad luck"? This one goes way back to ancient Egypt, where umbrellas were used to protect royalty from the sun. Opening one indoors, away from the sun, was seen as disrespecting the sun, god Ra, and you did not want to make him mad. On a more practical note, early umbrellas had metal spokes and could actually hurt someone or break stuff if opened in a tight space. No, opening an umbrella indoors won't curse you, but in cramped spaces, you might knock something over or poke someone. See? Superstitions are everywhere, and even if we know they're not real, they're still a fun and sometimes helpful part of being human.